Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped, back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're going to do a bit of a small chat on Assault Rumble once again, now that the second season is done and dusted, and what the game mode kind of might look like moving forward, because the end of the Season 2, the actual Season 2, raised a few alarm bells, honestly, just due to not only the trusty character system, but the fact that the new Pirate Festival Rare Recruit was so heavily involved in dealing the max amount of damage that you guys can get over in Assault Rumble. So I'm going to bring up a few screenshots, talk about my particular teams, talk about the player that did get first. Shout out to Dean, absolute legend, definitely well deserving. I know you've been striving for a long time, man, so congratulations on getting first place. But for myself, I think I ranked like 60, around 60 to 70, and that was purely because I didn't have the new Rare Recruits, Lilith and, is it Edison? I think we'll have a look at the character over in the PvP banner, but I didn't have access to them. And the thing about this particular season is that scientists were 20% boosted, so the character's obviously a scientist. They're an int-based character that buffs cerebrals and strikers, so int was prominent on 2 of the fights, I believe, and strikers were good for 1, cerebral was good for another, and they just were just your pure damage dealer with just building up as many points as possible. And ironically, for all 3 of the fights, the team was exactly the same, which I hated. Like, the fact that you were running the exact same team against all 3 fights really raises some questions in the design of how they're actually going to be making these fights. Because, like, with Whitebeard, for example, he lowered the HP of fighters by level 10. Luffy had the ability to forced out driven characters, but like the team only had 1 driven character who's immune to forced out. So I feel like they could definitely tweak the fights themselves just to stop players from using the exact same team on every single fight to maximize their RNG values. Because at the end of the day, like, if you want to get top 10, it is just going to be an absolute gem sink into trying to get your perfect amount of RNGs with all of the trusty characters and the new PvP character. And that's a huge problem in my eyes, not having a diverse array of teams that can give you massive damage. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like there's going to be that one team that is still going to be doing the most amount of damage per fight, but the fact that it was the same team across all of them was a bit of an issue. Now, a lot of people like to have a go at me too as well for hiding teams. I just want to like preface that I don't actually hide teams that aren't mine. If I build a team, I usually like expose it to you guys. I bring it out and say, hey, this is the team that I'm using. However, if I get wind of someone else's team that's doing better than my team, I don't go sharing that around because they ask me not to. I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, I got this score with someone else's team, la la la, ha ha ha. And I still bring the teams that I have ahead. So for the fights, we had the Akainu fight, the Luffy fight, and the Whitebeard fight. For the Luffy fight, this was the team that I was rocking. Basically the exact same team as the 1.5. Cerebral characters had the buff. I did try some stuff with the cerebral based team, this one right here. I did try some stuff with this, but the problem with Luffy was he just kept killing me. Then you lose so many points in that like last 20 seconds. Scientists obviously being buffed, mean Atlas hit really hard, Int Cerebrals hit really hard, so Atlas was doing really, really good numbers. Robin Koala obviously did really good numbers against Free Spirit characters, so I really wanted this to work, but again, like the back end of Luffy just like hitting so damn hard, it just couldn't get it done. So strength, obviously good RNG would get you upwards of around 25 million. I believe was the max damage number that we saw with that. But look, I wasn't going to sort of funnel gems in to sort of get that. As for the Whitebeard fight, he was weak to strikers, int strikers. This was the team that I actually used with great success. It won very easily and gave you a pretty good score. I think 17 million with the trusty characters was sort of like the highest that I did see. With this, I believe it probably could have got higher if you just wanted to do some better RNG runs. But a really safe and reliable team was the Dex team as well against Whitebeard. Again, it worked phenomenally. Could do up to 25 million, which is really, really good. So that was always nice. And then finally, we had the Slasher team against Akainu. Now, this one was a bit of a problem. If you didn't have Roger Gaban and you're trying to use Roger Whitebeard, unfortunately, you didn't have the bulkiness to survive the fight, which, again, I do think is good design in the sense that like you can't just go all-out attack. And then obviously those good RNG runs are going to get you the more points. But the Slash team, it worked well. They were weak to Psy Slashers. There was no real Psy Slasher scientist, but there was the Psy Slasher Bonnie, who could do good damage, but her special is not damage dealing special. So that was a bit of a problem. As for the team that sort of worked the best, though, the Strength team, I don't know if I still, this one here. The Strength team actually still worked the best, running something like Kaido in the front for damage numbers. The Giants were exceptional. They could buff Strength and Slasher. So this was the team that I sort of used just to try and get as many points as possible. But again, I wasn't going to gem sync anything that was not keeping me in the top 100. I didn't want to do it. I tried a couple of different runs to test some stuff to try and bring you guys a little bit more content. But like I said, the RNG factor in this game mode, it is so prevalent, and it is a huge factor in getting your top 10 runs. But at the end of the day, if you're not going for top 10, falling top 100, falling top 500 is still amazing rewards. And having that goal, if you guys do have, say, the trusted characters and some pretty good teams, top 100, I think is just a very fine place to land with the max amount of rewards for the lowest amount of investment in terms of your gem sync. All right, so I have a few screenshots here with just some of the stuff that I was sort of talking to some people about. The side team against Akainu, you could definitely run something like this. Obviously, they worked to side slashes. But again, like, lots of deaths here was a bit of a problem. Getting 3.5 million, honestly, it's not a huge number. But again, it kept Shuro like around the top 1,000, which is pretty good for him without having Bonnie. Getting around 7 million, this is again without Bonnie. So seeing some pretty good numbers there with the like generic strength team against Luffy. Again, RNG probably could have increased this number, but still getting some nice like digits there. And then finally about 9 million here, which is a really good score actually, like a really, really good score, especially without having Bonnie. So like that could have just been a lot higher if you sort of had a bit more RNG without losing characters in the front there. But now we're going to take a look at my good buddy Dean and his particular run. He managed to crack 100 million. Now, just to be mindful, Dean has all of the good trusty characters. He did pull the PvP rare recruit, and he got his Saturn to 130. So, like, this type of stuff, like, it's going to be pretty hard to do consistently. But obviously, when you have the resources, if you have the gems, and you do like to whale out, like, you are going to be in a pretty good spot when it comes to this sort of stuff. So, I'm going to showcase the team that he was using, and like I said, this is, in my eyes, the biggest problem with Assault Rumble right now. Not so much the gem sync, because like you have the willpower not to click the button to say, I would like to spend a gem. At the end of the day, that falls on you and your mindset of where you want to rank. At the end of the day, if you want to rank in the top 10 of OPTC in every game mode, every single game mode, you're going to need the new characters. Like that is how this gacha game survives and how it thrives. So just be mindful of that. But falling top 100, like you don't need to have every single piece of the puzzle. Obviously every single piece of the puzzle is going to help. But falling, sorry, not top 100, top 500 to top 1,000, I believe. I should have prefaced that, apologies. Falling in that sort of top 500 range to the top 1,000 range, still going to net you something like 40 to 50 gems, which is really, really good. But let's take a look at Dean's teams. And by teams, I mean team, because this was literally the team that he used for all three of the fights. It is a striker-centric team. The outlier here that really surprised me was Vivi and Rebecca, but obviously, like, some characters are going to be better in PvP assault mode rather than PvP actual gameplay. As you can see there, we have the 130 Saturn, we have the new PvP rare recruit in Lilith, and then we have Nami and Bonnie. Bonnie, obviously being a Bonnie pirate, she does hit it a little bit harder. She rolls back special, she halves stats, which is really, really nice. And then Nami has the ability to give 100% haste and 100% cooldown to 2 other striker units. And obviously with the RNG factor, you just needed this to hit your Bonnie or your Saturn so you could get more damage numbers, or hit, Lilith and Saturn to get more damage numbers, or hit your Bonnie to get more rollbacks. Like, that was the name of the game, and obviously you needed your characters to survive just to get more life skill as well, life bonus as well. So 39 million he managed to get on Whitebeard. He managed to get 23.5 million on Akainu. I believe you could actually get a little bit more on Akainu if you were running the Strength Doflamingo 6 Plus at 150. And you had, the team that I should have showed earlier, you replaced the Kaido with the 6 Plus Doflamingo at level 150, which again, very hard to get if you are just like a run-of-the-mill player. But 23.5 million, honestly, is very, very good. Like I said, 25, I believe, is the highest that you could get. So losing 1.5 million there to sort of bolster your other teams in terms of your 37s and your 38s, your 39 million over here, was just absolutely exceptional. And again, the core of the build and the reason that these teams were doing so well was purely because of Lilith, the new PvP rare recruit. Now, we all know the trusty character system in Assault Rumble is a huge gripe to majority of the player base. Obviously, to get in the top 1,000, you are going to need some trusty characters, as of what we know right now, because in the future, you got to remember, like, the trusty character list is going to be on the end of month legend batch, and a lot of people will be skipping those particular banners. We're in the middle of a Super Suga Fest 11th anniversary, so just be mindful of the trusty character bonus. We don't really know how that's going to affect the rankings moving forward, but again, I think without any trusty characters for the top 1,000 is going to be very, very doable. Even the top 500 if you have some of these better teams. But my real gripe with the content was this particular character right here. Lilith and the Vega Force character. if you didn't have this character, you were not getting top 10. That was the bottom line. You just could not compete with the Striker and Cerebral team without this particular unit. And obviously the Striker team was the one that just sort of shone across the board. As you can see, they have the Scientist tag, so they were getting the 20% extra damage. They are a Cerebral Int character and a Cerebral Striker character. Striker Int character. So they were doing extra damage, 30% more damage on the Whitebeard fight and the Luffy fight. So really, really powerful stuff. And when you take a look at what this character does in terms of their PvP special, they do attack up level 5. They target enemies within a large horizontal range for 3 times damage, all enemies within a large range for 3 times damage, and then all enemies within a medium range for 3 times damage. So they're doing 3 times damage, 3 times damage, 3 times damage. This is a lot. It's a lot of damage when you have a 50% stat increase to your damage output, on top of the fact that Bonnie could halve stats, as well as the Vivi Rebecca lowering defense as well, which is pretty damn strong. If you have 6 or more Egghead characters on the team, targets enemies within a large range for another 3 times damage. And as you can see with Dean's team, he had 6 Egghead characters. We had the Bonnie, we had Saturn, obviously this particular unit. I think Vivi Rebecca 6+ was one of the only characters that wasn't on Egghead. The rest of the bench you could easily just fill out with Egghead characters. That's 3 right there. Bonnie, Saturn, this unit, there you go. You've got your 6 characters, nice and easy. The Nami was the other one who was a Wano character, so worked out fairly nicely. So as you can see, like, having this unit was the complete changer to how much damage output you could get. The thing is now, like, this character's probably going to never be used again, which is just a huge, like, saddening factor for myself. Don't get me wrong, like, Strikers are about to get very, very good with the release of Roger, Rayleigh, and Gaban, as well as the Rock Spirits. So look, this character definitely might still shine, but the fact that you needed this character, you needed the 4 new characters to get to top 10, like, for me, that's just a bit much. On top of the fact that you had to sink so many gems to get an RNG base is a huge problem that I see moving forward with the Assault Rumble game mode. But again, we're still in a bit of an outlier system because of the fact that we are in the 11th anniversary. But let me know what you guys think of the game mode down below. What are your concerns? How do you guys feel? Because look, State of the Game with Captain Pappy's coming up soon, and this will definitely be a talking point. So please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Way down there, bell like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.